happy Valentine's Day from all of us at GBS7. The one to watch in Central New York.
The following program has been rated TV PG and is intended for all viewers. Viewer discretion is not advised.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, and we have only 10 games left to cover in NFL QBC from 1994, then we can move on to update 11. I wonder who that is. Jared, you got my message. Glad you're all here now.
We didn't come here without a reason.
Have you ever thought of doing 2 videos in 1 video?
Huh. I never thought of that. Why didn't I think of this earlier?
Maybe because you never thought of it until Molly told you.
Whatever, now to the idea design studio for the Valentine's Day special. Well, Valentine's Day is here. And with the Super Bowl ending 3 days ago, it's safe to say that the 2023 season was an interesting one. Not gonna say who won the championship, because the Super Bowl hasn't happened as of the time the script was written, and neither was the AFC and NFC championships as of the time the script was written. But anyways, you may be looking at the time bar and saying, why is this a very long video? Shouldn't it be 30 to 35 minutes? Well, thanks to editing magic, this special is a doubleheader. First, the main bulk of the video will cover the simulation games from NFL Quarterback Club for the Sega 32X, games 21 through 30, which is the last 10 moments from the game. Although a couple of games were hinted at in the last special. Now, with that out of the way, let's get the show on the road. Now before we begin, here's a quick recap about what the point of these videos are. I said this before and I'll say it again for people who have forgot. One of the most interesting ideas for an American football game is situations where you play as a certain team and either repeat or even rewrite history. These can actually be custom through the simulation mode, where you make your own scenarios, but that's usually made up. Some games had moments from past seasons that you can experience. I decided to start off with the original QBC game from 1994, although I don't believe it was the first game to have the mode. Now, games 11 through 20 were the following: the Week 1 1976 season game between the Raiders and Steelers, the 1991 Week 6 match between the Lions and Vikings, the 1957 Week 4 game between the Colts and Lions, the 1985 Week 13 game between the Vikings and Eagles, the 1977 Week 2 game between the Browns and Patriots, the Broncos and Oilers 1991 AFC Divisional game, the Browns and Jets 1986 AFC Divisional game, a Fantasy Super Bowl 44 between the two new expansion teams at the time of the game's release, the Panthers and the Jaguars, the 1975 Week 4 game between the Rams and Chargers, and finally, the first AFL-NFL championship game between the Chiefs and Packers. Also, does anyone think that Patrick Mahomes is the modern-day Len Dawson? Well, the Josh Allen modern-day Jim Kelly rumors were proved to be true after the divisional game against the Chiefs. More on that in a second, since how the game ended was similar to the 21st simulation game in QBC. Now, with the intro stuff out of the way, let's get to the first game of the video, and for this one, my son, Jared, will cover this game. Take it away.
Thanks, Dad. Now, remember the AFC divisional game between the Chiefs and Bills that happened in the 2023 playoffs? Well, Tyler Bass missed what would have been the game-winning field goal with under 2 minutes left in the game. It was wide right, from 44 yards out. But did you know that this wasn't the first time that a Bills kicker shanked a kick wide right in the final moments of a playoff game? That's right. The Bills' agony all started when they made their first Super Bowl 25 in 1991. The Giants and Bills played close all the way to the end. With only 2 minutes and 16 seconds remaining, the Bills got the ball on their own 10 and were down 20-19. You had to drive from the 10 and score to win the game for the Bills. In the actual Super Bowl, the Bills drove from their own 10 to the Giants' 29. Then, Kelly spiked the ball to set up a 47-yard field goal try for Scott Norwood. Norwood was Buffalo's kicker since 1985, and his stats up to this point of field goals made from the 40 to 49-yard range was 32 out of 51 field goals made from that region, or 63%. He wasn't the most reliable kicker from that region. Also, the wind for the game 9 miles per hour. So the chance the wind pushes it to the right is rare. However, when Norwood went to kick the ball, it was drilled and went wide right, costing the Bills a Super Bowl win, and giving the Giants their second Super Bowl win in 5 years, and second Lombardi in franchise history. The Bills afterwards went on a downward spiral, losing 3 more times in the big game, losing to the Commanders in 1992, and the Cowboys in 1993 and 1994. It goes to show that the Bills sold their souls to the devil to win the 1964 and 1965 AFL championships. The venue for the game was Tampa Stadium, and as said in the last 2 specials, it was replaced by Raymond James Stadium. Now let's move on.
December 23, 1972 saw the NFC divisional matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. And if history has any indication, the 49ers are 0-2 against the Cowboys in the playoffs, both losses being from the NFC Championships of 1970 and 1971. The 49ers lost 17-10 to the Cowboys in the 1970 NFC Championship, and then the next year, they lost again to them in the NFC Championship, this time with a final score of 14-3. Both seasons saw the Cowboys reach the Super Bowl. However, as mentioned in the last 2 specials, the boys lost to the Colts in Super Bowl V, and they would end up winning it all the next year against an up-and-coming Miami Dolphins team with a young Don Shula as their coach. Also, as a bit of an obvious fact, Tom Landry was the Cowboys coach from the team's first season in 1960, up until Jerry Jones bought the team after the 1988 season. Landry would pass away after fighting leukemia on February 12, 2000. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1990. Back to this 1972 playoff game, the Cowboys were down 28-13 with 3 minutes left. The 49ers sideline was actually laughing at them, but that was just fuel to a fire as Roger Staubach led the Cowboys to 2 touchdown drives. First, Staubach completed a 20-yard TD pass to Billy Parks, and then, on their next drive, Staubach completed a 10-yard pass to Ron Sellers to give the Cowboys the lead, and won it by a final score of 30-28, breaking 49ers' hearts once again. Here's something you might have not known about this game. Craig Morton started the game, but was pulled after the third quarter after a native 96-yard, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions showing, giving him a QB rating of 29.2, which is 10.4 rating points worse than if you spiked the ball to the ground every single play. No wonder Staubach got the starting job the next season. The Cowboys went on to lose to the Redskins in the NFC Championship. As for the stadium they played in, the 49ers left Candlestick Park in 2013 for Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara for the 2014 season. The last event held at Candlestick was a concert by Paul McCartney in August 2014, and the demolition of the stadium was completed in September 2015. As of 2019, the site is planned to be redeveloped into office space. But nothing happened on that front, unfortunately. Now let's move on.
Snow in December, a tradition in the NFL, especially in cold weather states. This December 4th, 1980 Week 15 game was no exception. In a Midwest-style snow bowl, the Bears and Bengals were tied at the end of regulation. Deep into OT, the Bengals made their scoring drive starting at their 14 with 5 minutes and 1 second remaining. The Bengals drove down and Jim Breach kicked the 28-yard field goal to win the game. The Bears and Bengals went 6-10 and 7-9 respectively, both missing the playoffs. The Bengals would eventually make it to Super Bowl 16 a year later, and 4 years afterwards, the Bears won Super Bowl 20 with the greatest defense of all time, led and coached by Buddy Ryan, the father of Robin the highly controversial Rex Ryan. Buddy died on June 28, 2016, on his ranch in Shelbyville, Kentucky, at the age of 85 after battling cancer and a lengthy illness. Soldier Field would be remodeled in 2003, causing it to lose its military memorial status and was delisted as a National Historic Landmark on February 17, 2006.
Remember when the Cardinals used to be in St. Louis? Well, they moved to Phoenix, Arizona in 1988, and were named the Phoenix Cardinals until 1994, when they renamed them to have a more statewide promotion for the team. However, the St. Louis Cardinals had one game in their final season in St. Louis that the Cardinals had to come back from a large deficit. On November 8, 1987, the Cardinals hosted a Week 9 game between them and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were 4-3 entering this game and the Cardinals were 2-5. The Buccaneers were second in the NFC Central at the time of the game, ahead of the 3-4 Vikings, the 3-1 Packers and the 1-6 Lions, and behind the 6-1 Chicago Bears. The Cardinals were fourth in the NFC North, ahead of the 1-6 Giants and behind the 3-4 Eagles, the 4-3 Cowboys and the 6-1 Commanders, who were known as the Redskins at the time. Also, thank God Dan Snyder is gone. Anyways, the Buccaneers were ahead 28-3 going into the fourth quarter. The Cardinals had to make a comeback starting from Tampa's 44 with 13 minutes and 56 seconds left. This game showed why Neil Lomax had some potential, starting with a 4-yard pass to Robert Awade to cut the lead to 18. Then the Buccaneers fumbled the ball and Nico Noga returned it 24 yards to make it a 28-17 ball game. The Cardinals would get within 4 with an 11-yard TD pass from Neil to JT Smith. Neil hit JT again from 17 yards out and the Cardinals had the lead at 31-28. The Buccaneers tried a 53-yard field goal at the end of the game, but it hit the goal post and it was no good. The Cardinals would win the game, but both teams didn't make the playoffs. Speaking of which, why haven't the Cardinals won a Super Bowl yet? Seriously, there was that one season in 2008, but other than that, nothing. This is the most depressing franchise I've ever seen. Anyway, Busch Stadium, or Busch Stadium 2 was replaced by Busch Stadium 3 in 2006. After Busch 2 was demolished in late 2005, the final event there was Game 6 of the 2005 National League Championship Series between the venue's main team, the baseball Cardinals, losing to the Astros, who were in the NL at the time and would switch to the AL in 2013. The Astros are the only team to have won both an NLCS and an ALCS. In fact, They won 4 ALCSs, in 2017, 2019, 2021 and most recently in 2022. 2 of those ALCSs, 2017 and 2022 were also World Series wins. The other 2 were losses, to the Washington Nationals in 2019, and the Atlanta Braves in 2021. They also lost the ALCS to their state rival Texas Rangers this past year, and the Rangers went on to win their first title in franchise history, proving that teams that were in urinating Jerry's legacy of failure videos, except the football teams, managed to break their curse a short while after the videos were produced. The Washington Capitals of the NHL were the first to buck this trend, and the Rangers aren't the last. Hopefully the San Jose Sharks, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Vikings, the Falcons and/or the Seattle Mariners are the next to break the curse.
There's another game from the 1980 season, and a game where Joe Montana became known as the comeback kid. The 49ers were shell-shocked in the first half by the Saints with the score 35-7. The 49ers regrouped and made one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history. It started with a Joe Montana 1-yard TD run to make it 35-14. Then late in the third quarter, Montana completed a pass to Dwight Clark for 71 yards to make it 35-21. The 49ers roared to life in the fourth quarter with a Freddie Solomon 14-yard pass completion to make it 35-28. And then Linval Elliott ran it in from 7 yards out, tying the game up and sending it into OT. Ray Wersching then kicked the winning 36-yard field goal to win it 38-35. This game proved that the 49ers had firepower, and that was proved true when they won the Super Bowl the next year. Despite going 6-10 in 1980, the 49ers would win 4 Super Bowls in the 80s, and those being in 1981, 1984, 1988, and 1989. They won their 5th title in 1994, and made the Super Bowl in 2012. 2019 and 2023. The 49ers were also involved in a 1957 matchup between them and the Lions, but that will be discussed after the 26th simulation game and the intermission report. Now I will turn it over to Zachary, who has the intermission report.
Thanks, Trip. Now, if you don't know already, here's what Austin and Jordan discussed in the last 2 specials intermission reports. Firstly, thanks again to everyone who's subscribed in the past 5 years to this channel. Secondly, MMB is working on future projects, like Legendology and more MMC Cross HTF episodes, including the 2 new series based on old HTF media. One being based on the Battle Royale novel by Koshin Takumi, with the HTF fanon characters, as well as the 6 fanon characters that were in the short-lived Battle Royale Flash series by Unreal K9, and the other being a series based on the HTF Mega Man game series Happy Tree Friends Adventures, called Happy Tree Friends Adventures X. Thirdly, MMB Update 11's topic is gonna be all about the recent accusations directed towards Noah Martorana, as BG Enterprises, also known as VIA, made a call out towards him because he groomed Sarah Santos. Brendan is gonna do a full video on it, along with new project announcements. Fourthly, since MMB Productions' 10th anniversary of the channel will be coming on April 30th, 2025, MMB are planning to revisit old videos and remaster projects, starting with the final encounter, since the recent Part 3 had 2 missing frames, in the scene where Jared and Alicia are hiding in the Smith's house from Bongo's gang. These remastered versions are for the full movie, as the other ones are just the parts templates. Then, episodes 1 and 2 of the GX03 prologue will be next, as well as adjusting Hunter's voice in part 1 to be normal instead of being pitched down. Other 4:3 videos will be converted to 16:9 as well. The thumbnails will have a giant updated graphic across it in a horizontal angle. Fifthly, the trailer for Happy Tree Friends Adventures X has 2 teaser versions, one being based on the Mega Man X intro, and the other being a traditional HTF adventure intro. Other future projects and trailers will be released soon. Now, with the old stuff out of the way, here's some new stuff, starting with Legendology Episode 1. Since the episode is super long, MMB decided to portion it by 3 segments per part. As a result of this, part 1 will consist of the intro segment, where Brandon gets a call from Bradley Covert about finding a treasure chest, the first part of the story, where Brandon uses the MHS's new movie emulator 5000 to go through various movie segments before the hunters get a message from Dr. Rydwright, the scene at Rydwright's castle, where Brandon interrogates Rydwright for what he did before encountering Clonebot Sigma, and finally, the scene at the Cave of Destiny, where the hunters find an ancient prophecy about a being called Dark Hunter 666, who is really 666 Brandon, a character who was created with a design based on the Redster Incorporated, or when he was known as Mario Gaming 45753 Productions character 666, the gang that encounters an army of clone bots, led by a clone bot version of Dalton Hines, and Sigma, who captured Austin Carlson disguised as Brandon. The stars then disappeared, ending part 1. Part 2 will consist of the MHCERF making a message about what happened the night before, then the hunters heading to Vegas to recover the first artifact of light, then the MHCERF meeting up with the hunters, giving them material to help them defeat the clone bots. The hunters then encounter 666 Brandon for the first time, even having Jared getting his arm cut off by him. The gang then head to Allegiant Stadium and recover the artifact, the guitar laser of light, who was in the hands of Shinedown member Brent Smith. Brandon then uses it to vanquish 666 Brandon, becoming a hero once again. Part 3 consists of the massive celebration, the aftermath, and Dalton Hines, the real version, falling out of the sky after being beaten up by 666 Brandon, who didn't really vanquish, much to Brandon's dismay. So there you have it. The Legendology Episode 1 problems are cleared up, since it would have been an hour or more long if it was just one video. Then again, the full episode would have been that way if it was completed at a later time. Secondly, the trailer for HTF Battle Royale Recharged will be in production after this special and update combo video is done, along with MMC vs HTF Power Fighters Battle Royale Another Battle Episode 2, where Juggles fights against Handy. Finally, the production of several projects will begin throughout 2024, those being Episode 9 of MMC Cross HTF, Episode 2 of Midnight Hour, Part 5 of The Final Encounter, Part 2 of Fast Forward, Part 3 and 4 of Skaggle's Nightmare, in which Part 3 is already done, Episode 2 for GX0, among others. Now let's get back to the show.
Remember the Music City Miracle, the play that was the catalyst for the Titans' Super Bowl run? Well, it wasn't a miracle for the Titans, formerly the Houston Oilers, back in January 3, 1993. This was the largest comeback in NFL history before the Vikings defeated the Colts on December 17, 2022. That was a 33-point comeback, as the Vikings won it 39-36. But this comeback was a 32-point comeback by the Bills. The Houston Oilers were sure to win this cold AFC playoff game with a 35-3 lead in the third. The Bills were hurt, but not KO'd. They had to come back starting with 4 minutes and 29 seconds in the third and down 35-17. Take note that Jim Kelly was injured and the Bills' starting QB was Frank Reich. However, that didn't stop the Bills from coming back from the depths of defeat. Reich completed 3 TD passes to Andre Reed, 1 from 26 yards, 1 from 18 and 1 from 17 to make the score 38-35. Al Del Greco sent the game into OT with a 26-yard field goal, and Steve Christie kicked the game-winning field goal from 32 yards. The Bills ended up making their third consecutive Super Bowl appearance, after defeating the Steelers in the divisional and then the Dolphins in the AFC Championship. They then get squashed by the Cowboys in Super Bowl 27, 52-17. The Bills would then make the Super Bowl the next year, only to lose to the Cowboys again, this time with a score of 30-13. The Oilers would then collapse in the 1993 divisional against the Joe Montana-led Kansas City Chiefs, causing a lot of drama for all the wrong reasons. Buddy Ryan punching Kevin Gilbride was only the beginning of their downfall and eventually relocation to Tennessee after the 1996 season. Wait, didn't we talk about this before? All of what I said sounded familiar, Also, Rich Stadium is now known as Highmark Stadium, but that is soon to change as new Highmark Stadium is set to open in 2026.
When it comes to the Lions facing the 49ers in the playoffs, and during the regular season, the Lions are 28-40-1 against the 49ers. As of 1957 though, they are 20-31-1. However, their last playoff win against the Niners was all the way back on December 22, 1957. In the NFL Western Conference Championship, we saw a talented Lions team down 24-7 at the half. The 49ers were unable to hold the lead as the Detroit Lions won it 31-27. The second half saw the Lions roar to life. The Lions had a Tom Tracy 1-yard run to make it 27-14. Tracy then had a 58-yard run to make it 21-27. Then, Gene Getman had a 2-yard run to take a 1-point lead, and Jim Martin had a 13-yard field goal at the end of the game to win it. They would face each other 2 other times in the playoffs, with the 49ers winning both times. Joe Montana led the 49ers to a win in the 1983 NFC Divisional Round, and most recently, Brock Purdy did the same in this year's NFC Championship. And I wanted to see the Lions in the Super Bowl this year. It's just sad to see a talented squad lose like that, cause our stadium was the home for both the Niners and Raiders until 1971, where the Niners moved into Candlestick Park. As for the Raiders, it was a temporary field before Oakland Alameda County Coliseum was built, along with Frank Yarrow Field. The Raiders only played their first 4 home games in 1960, and the rest of the 1960 season and 1961 season at Candlestick, then moved to Frank Yarrow Field from 1962 to 1965, and they moved into the OAC Coliseum until their move to LA in 1982 to 1994, where they came back, and they then moved again, most recently to Las Vegas in 2020.
These last 3 situations were based on the 1998-99 postseason, and these were way ahead of their time, not as ahead as Super Bowl 44, though. First up, the 1998 AFC Championship. The Jets have handled the Chiefs with no problem, but the Kansas City defense is on the rise. A safety with 4 minutes and 44 seconds in the fourth will give KC the ball and a chance to return from down 17-2. It's funny that a scenario like this exists, since the Jets did face a AFC West team in the AFC Championship, but it was the Broncos, not the Chiefs, hence why you are seeing the highlights from that AFC Championship game. This game wasn't a comeback, but the Denver Broncos scored 20 points on the Jets in the third quarter after Curtis Martin had a 1-yard TD run with 12 minutes left in the third quarter. Then, John Elway completed a pass to Howard Griffith for an 11-yard touchdown. Jason Ulam had 2 field goals, both from 40-plus yards to make it 13-10. Then, Terrell Davis had a 31-yard touchdown run to make it 20-10. Elam had a 35-yard field goal at the end of the game to win it 23-10 and sending the Broncos to their second consecutive Super Bowl appearance. Also, the next scenario had the Falcons facing the Packers, but the Falcons actually faced the Vikings in the NFC Championship. In this scenario, since scoring 13 points in the first quarter, the Packers have hit a dry spell. Atlanta has the ball in the lead. With 2 minutes and 57 seconds left, the Packers had to regain possession and come back from 8 points down. The real NFC Championship came down to a 38-yard field goal by Gary Anderson, who hadn't missed a field goal all year. However, he missed it, and then the game was tied up with a Chris Chandler to Terrence Mathis 16-yard touchdown with 57 seconds left in regulation to send it into OT. Gary's younger brother, Morton Anderson, made a kick from the same distance to send the Falcons to the Super Bowl, their first in franchise history. The Packers were eliminated in the wild card against the 49ers in a close bout, and the Chiefs went 7-9 and missed the playoffs. However, NFL QBC had a scenario where Super Bowl 33 was a rematch of Super Bowl 1. The Packers and Chiefs were tied at 42 in the third overtime period. The Chiefs had the ball and the Packers had to come back and win. In reality, it was the Falcons versus the Broncos down in Miami. The game was infamously known for Falcons' Eugene Robinson being arrested for solicitation of prostitution the night before the game. The situation was so disgusting that it won't be discussed here, and just after he received the Bart Starr Award for his high moral character. That in of itself was the reasons why the Falcons got smacked by the Broncos, 34-17. Elway would retire after Super Bowl 33 and the Falcons wouldn't make another Super Bowl until the infamous 28-3 Super Bowl 51 meme game in 2016, where Tom Brady captained a comeback from a 25-point deficit to win his 5th Super Bowl for the Patriots.
I remember that game. The Falcons choked so hard that they would blow laps left and right in the seasons after this game. Hopefully Raheem Morris can fix this. Well, that's it for this special and the NFL quarterback club situations. Don't worry, the next time I do this won't be holiday related, as the next game will have 50 scenarios, some being repeats of what we already saw. But don't go away, the 11th MMB update is next. See you in a bit.
Later.
Don't think this is over yet. This special is a double feature. Now, it's time for MMB Update 11, and the story of the toxic HTF fan bus. Today on the MMB Update, the toxic HTF fan bus gets even more toxic with another grooming scandal. This time, Noah Martorana groomed a 17-year-old minor named Sara Santos from Portugal. This may be more nasty than the Nemo scandal, and we'll go in depth on how this happened. Also, we will take a look at the upcoming schedule for future videos, like Leginology Part 1 and many other things coming in 2024. And last, we'll discuss the new series that are in planning stages, including a series that isn't the MMC style, but is not an MMC series, but an idea from a deviant artist named LapisFan 2055. All this and more starts when MMB Update 11 starts, right now. Another one of these grooming stories. Can these people stop doing bad things? Oh, am I on? Okay, get it together, dude. Hello everyone, welcome to MMB Update 11. And I am so disappointed in the HTF community right now, and it's not just an Emma, James HTF, Sealkean HTF, The Fate Bluey the Beavro Counts, Faith Allen M Skull 1, Media Azure the Cat YT, Carol Chan 087, RMX4 Life and Overall HTF are all causing me so much trouble that I had to block them from my DeviantArt account. But this isn't about them, but a much more toxic person, named Noah Martorana. Recently, I recovered this call-out document by a user named BG Enterprises, also known as B. She made a call-out towards him because he groomed a Portugal girl named Sara Santos. For your information, Noah is 20 and Sara is 17. So, let's take a look at this in a much more detailed manner. TV screen zoom enhancer activate. So according to B, Noah Martorana, also known as his DeviantArt account name Noah Chat Martorana, is an American user who is 20 years old in the HTF fandom. Sara used to date him for a long time, but he might be done for. Sara Santos was the victim of Noah Martorana. Sara is only a 17 years old minor who lives in Portugal. She got groomed by this guy who is trying to get away from her. Because he's 20 and he's making B go against her for no reasons. Also credit to Hopkins the movie for revealing the screenshot you see on screen right now. According to this screenshot, which may have come from Discord, he used romance as a method of, well, the picture speaks for itself. Also, if you're wondering, this update may contain some content and language that may not be suitable for some viewers, mainly the younger kids, so if you can't handle this, I suggest you watch something else you can handle. And just after I produce a kid-friendly NFL Valentine's Day special. Also, viewer discretion is advised. Anyways, the next picture is also by Hopkins the movie, telling me about what Noah digged. This is from their group chat, and it showed that both Noah and what he thought was Sara was engaging in a bit of roleplay, which is disgusting in my opinion. This is proof that he turned into a groomer and pedophile to a 17-year-old girl, especially on his sexual roleplays and attracting to minors. These next images belong to the previously mentioned Sealkean HTF, who I blocked for being rude to me. But in this case, I'll have to agree to her. She was a victim of harassment, and even was yelled at by Noah. She even had to explain to him that he was being a groomer to a minor. He asked another minor for his relationship. But this minor refused due to being very uncomfortable, even during using online dating on underage users. He is also a cheater as he hated her after going to date minors. When she asked him to stop attraction to minors, including Sara, since she's 17, this was the result. This is from her Twitter, as she was upset that he unfriended her without a reason. This evolved into a massive argument, even Happy stating that Noah was being rude, and having Noah telling her to stop being disrespectful, and it just goes on and on and on, and you get the picture. If he wanted to groom yet another minor, she had to get this revealed somehow, unlike the new version of Water OS though. However, recently he was falsely accusing Sara Santos of lying about being 26 to 27. But she's only 17, and he has no proof, and is faking apologizing to underage users for asking about his relationship and grooming Sara. Like he can't be forgiven for being a pedophile. But I have a suggestion to other users: don't accept his apology. Period. He will never be forgiven, and that is the capital final. He dumped him and is now an unforgiving asswipe. He is also accused of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. Credit to Ms. William Sachi for these pictures from DeviantArt. He lied about leaving the internet and continues coming back. Ironically, he was supporting RMX4 Life and still yet continuing to unblock and block him for all times. Knowing harassing Toki is a bad thing and bringing back to Toki's old drawings, which is 2021, it's old. Noah is being a blind dom. He is also not good at handling criticism. Now, if he's 20, and if he's acting like a man-child because some of his haters or people don't like his drawings, does that technically make him a hypocrite? Well, yes, because his drawings kinda look too poor and terrible like a toddler's drawing. He never learns. He's complaining about being blocked by his haters and had the right to his pedophilic behaviors. He even attempted to murder his haters who blocked him. That's a death threat. You can't do that on the internet. Just ask Buffalo Bills kicker Tyler Bassam how that worked out after he missed a field goal in the AFC divisional game. Even when he blocks haters, he tends to be a hypocrite himself and make already worse situations even worse. So, to recap, Noah Martorana is a pedophile and never dates any underage people during online dating. He's the one who is manipulating me to go against Sara Santos. We all felt bad for attacking her and we need to support her back. But Noah is also manipulating Sara to date him when she's a minor. If he talks to minors, he needs to stop and get a girlfriend that isn't a minor and get off the internet before things go bad for everyone involved. Damn, that was disgusting. But now let's get to a more kind-hearted story. My upcoming videos to be developed. So, first things first, we need to address the GX03 situation. Since the Harmony Frenzy project is on a massive hiatus, since 15 is down, the MMC GX03 Ultimate Frenzy arc will be on hiatus until I can come up with my own storyline. Some other series that will see hiatus until further notice are the following: Mega Man Chronicles vs Happy Tree Friends Power Fighters Battle Royale, and another battle series, the Mega Man Chronicles, Midnight Hour series, the Mega Man Chronicles, GX0 series, the MMC Cross HTF Universe series, the Fast Forward and Final Encounter movie projects, and finally, and most importantly, the Vanilla MMC Cross HTF series. I will also not post anything to my wiki page for the next couple of weeks. This is because I need to limit the amount of projects I need to do, so I don't get burned out. That being said, I will upload episode 2 of HTF and Chronicles and part 1 of episode 1 of Legend Biology as soon as possible. As for series that are in the planning stages, MMC Cross HTF All-Course, GX01, GX02 and the HTF Battle Royale Recharge projects will still be produced at some point. Although the scripts for episode 1 of 3 out of 4 series have yet to be produced, I also would like to announce that a new project, called The Adventures in Logoland, will be a thing. This features human versions have television logos, who were previously created by a deviant artist named LapusFan2055. However, these characters will be using the MMC assets instead of its own assets. Also, HTF Adventures X Episode 1 script will begin writing soon, along with the wiki pages and scripts for Resurrection of Insurrection Part 2 and the MMC Cross HTF Love Bites episode Kids in Love, featuring Lillian Cub. Since I didn't have time to start writing these until after this video was produced, and I'm still writing the end of the mission to save Christmas. Anyways, is that it? Are we out of stories already? Well, that was quick. Well, since we're out of time, I'll see you in the next update. See you later, and happy Valentine's Day.